Welcome in, everyone. I just got back from the 2025 Senior Bowl where I had media credentials to watch these players practice every single day. Also got to talk to a ton of these players, so I'm giving you the best insights you can find for these 2025 Dynasty Rookie Running Back Sleepers. Hopping right into it, we have Damien Martinez, running back out of Miami, and he's a guy that impressed me from the jump. Now, he measured in at 5'11", 226 pounds, which is perfect three-down size. And when you're looking at these, running backs 5 through 10, you obviously have guys like Trevor Etienne, Omarion Hampton, Caleb Johnson, and Ashton Genty. I don't think he's going to top any of those guys. But once you get past, even Judkins as well, it kind of gets to a mix of guys where they're going to be drafted in the later rounds. And I want players with good pass catching upside, and it could also provide a potential three-down skill set. Martinez absolutely has that. He's a fantastic runner, moves incredibly well, not just for his size, but he moves as good as a lot of these other smaller backs. And what impressed me the most was how good he was as a pass catcher. He consistently showed natural, soft hands in the receiving game, cooked defenders in one-on-one, and you put a linebacker on him, he was getting open almost every single time. And one of the things that I probably would have picked up on if I hadn't gone to the event was how good of a blocker Martinez is. For a lot of these running backs, they don't really stand a chance against these edge rushers or linebackers, so they kind of just try and bump them out the way. Martinez was holding his ground. I think he's going to be a fantastic blocker in the NFL level, which truly gives him a three-down skill set. So he's a guy that I really, really liked. He's flying up my 2025 Dynasty Rookie running back rankings, and he's a guy that I'm targeting everywhere if he does get solid draft capital. The next running back we're going to talk about is Ollie Gordon, a pretty well-known name, but he's fallen a lot down boards during the 2025 pre-draft process, and I understand it. He didn't have a very good 2024 campaign, but he really impressed me at the Senior Bowl. Now, measured in at 6'1", 233 pounds, and people are having mixed opinions with that information. A lot of people think that's way too heavy and it's something they don't want to see. But the reason I think it's actually a positive for Gordon is the main knock against him is he's not very agile. You can't really change directions. He's not the fastest, most explosive back. And before this, he was listed in at 225, and a lot of times colleges actually over-exaggerate how much these defenders weigh. So if he was really 225, maybe 220, and he moved like that, I would be a lot more scared. But I think it just tells us that Gordon, he's not going to be an agile back. And that's okay because he has another 13, 15 pounds on him that we didn't really know about before heading into the Senior Bowl. We know the type of player he is. We know he's not just a slow running back despite being, not super big. No, he's a super big running back that, I think his speed, honestly, was a little blown out of proportion. I thought he looked fine. I thought it was adequate at the Senior Bowl.
What do you think the most underrated part of your game is?
I would say me being able to break away, with me being so big, people usually don't think about that or don't tend to think about that. But, when it pops out, it surprises them.
But we know he's going to be a power back, and he consistently ran over defenders in practice. I thought he looked very good in between the tackles, even though there wasn't, super hard tackling, and just showed fairly natural hands. A lot of people don't really like Gordon as a pass catcher, but I thought that he had very good hands. Consistently would just snag balls with one hand, warming up, throwing the ball around. So the hands, I think, are fairly soft. In game, I will say, he wasn't the best pass catcher. He didn't shock me and blow me away completely like Martinez did. But I thought that a lot of people are going to call him a bad pass catcher. I thought he was good to fine. That said, I'm not saying Gordon's a perfect prospect, but I saw a lot of questions answered I had of him, and I think there's enough in there. I think there's enough flashes to where we can get some of that 2023 season where he was so electric in the NFL. For our next running back, this is a guy that hasn't really been talked about at all. I didn't really talk about him much before the Senior Bowl. I think a lot of people forgot about him, but that's Trevor Etienne out of Georgia. Transferred from Florida State. Yes, he is the brother of Travis Etienne, which probably would have held a lot more weight had Travis not had a terrible season in 2024. But he's the perfect example of a guy that showed flashes of being a good runner. I thought he broke out a few good runs in scrimmages. I thought his feet were pretty good. And I mean, he's been solid in college, but he is going to be, and he talked about this when I got a chance to interview him, he believes that he can be an elite pass catcher, and I feel the same way about it.
What do you think the most underrated part of your game is?
The most underrated part of my game, probably my pass catching ability. People know I can do it. They know that I'm exceptional at it, but it's like I really feel like it could be next level. And I could be a dangerous weapon in the offense with the way that I can receive the ball.
I think he's already a good pass catcher, but in days 2 and 3 of practice, he really, really looked good. He was consistently cooking linebackers in one-on-one drills. He has a good route running ability and made a spectacular spinning catch in the one-on-one session. I mean, if he lands in a spot where he can be a receiving back for an NFL team and get a chance to mix in on, maybe 8 to 10 carries a game, I think he's going to be a very efficient back that could give you so much upside in a PPR format. Sticking with the theme of good pass catches, we're going to talk about Bashard Smith, running back out of SMU. And before heading to the Senior Bowl, I didn't really know that he was a wide receiver before transferring to running back, but he really showed that that's clearly the case in each and every single day of practice. I wouldn't say that he was a bigger riser than any of these other guys, but I think he's in that kind of Trevor Etienne tier where he's a guy that could offer a ton of value as a pass catcher, as, him being drafted as a later round back. He really looked good in one-on-one drills during practice each day, showed natural hands. You could tell he's a receiver, very fluid as a route runner, and burned defenders multiple times for really big gains, so showed that explosiveness out of the backfield. I don't think that he was bad as a runner either. I thought he was pretty fine. It's not like he's only going to be a pass catcher in the NFL. Kind of reminds me a bit of Tyrone Tracy. Obviously, not every back is going to hit like him, who transferred from wide receiver, but he definitely showed some flash, and I think there's a lot of upside there with Bashard Smith, and he's really a potential game changer because of how good he is as a pass catcher. I think that if you get him in a good landing spot, that he's a guy that you should take shots on because he has the upside to have a Tyrone Tracy type rookie season. Now, the last player we're going to talk about is Devin Neal, running back out of Kansas. A lot of you guys in the Dynasty community are familiar with Devin Neal, but I think it's pretty consensus he's not in those top 5 backs. Maybe some people have him over Judkins, but no one really has him over Hampton or Caleb Johnson, so he's probably going to go in day 3 of the NFL draft, maybe round 3 at the earliest, in my opinion. But I thought he looked really good. Showed a very electric running style in the 11-on-11. He had multiple long runs. Showed that he can be an instant contributor to the NFL level. He has a skill set to where he can make defenders miss as well. And he's a guy that not only I think that seeing up close in person, he's a more bulkier back. He has good size. He looks built. But he also did show good elusiveness, which is you didn't really know too much about what Devin Neal really does super well. He does a lot of things well, but there's not one elite part of his game. I think that his size and build is plus. I think it's above average. And I think his elusiveness this week also was above average as well. So there's 2 kind of questions that I had coming in for Neal, but I thought he answered them with flying colors. I thought he had a great week of practice. Didn't look super hot every single day, but, in days 2 and 3 especially, I thought Devin Neal looked good, and I thought he really impressed. With that said, if you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We're going to be doing this for the wide receivers as well, but if you guys want to see that faster, be sure to hit the like button and let me know in the comments. Also, I'm planning to do another one with quarterbacks and tight ends, but if you guys do want to see that video for sure, let me know in the comments. And again, I really appreciate you guys watching. It was a super cool experience to cover the Senior Bowl with media credentials, so I'm really glad to bring you guys this content. But again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the support. If you did enjoy it, click the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.